Don Skaggs again with Empowered Inventing, the one place where we try to help you help other people by taking your great innovation, the right opportunity, and sound wisdom to turn them into products and businesses that people are going to love and send you certificates of appreciation called dollar bills. Anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit today about the power of what's called apt answers and timely words. And you might ask, Don, what do you mean by apt answer or a timely word? Well, there's a couple of really good proverbs on this. There's one that I really love. This is a word fitly spoken are like apples of gold in settings of silver, and that means just it's the right thing sitting in the right time. It's something that looks very, very good in a very, very nice situation. Kind of the opposite of that, I think, is something that would be inappropriate. And there's actually another old proverb like this that talks about a gold ring in a swine's or in a pig's snout, and it's kind of like that doesn't belong there. And sort of, if you think about it, when you're saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, you ever stick your foot in your mouth? It's kind of like that. It's like, oh, well, yeah, that didn't really come out too well, or that didn't have the effect I wanted it to have. Another thing is that a man has joy in an apt answer. How delightful is a timely word? And it really makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because the right word at the right time can make all the difference, especially when you're trying to communicate people about your idea, about your startup, about your product, or about your business. So think of comedy. In the comedic world, the comedy profession, if you will, they always say the same thing. They say timing is everything. If you time the joke right, then it's funny. If the timing of the joke is wrong, guess what? It falls flat and nobody laughs. So this is true in business as much as it is in life. So when you're communicating with people, with others, there's some tips I have to really try to have the apt answers and the timely words, because I think it's very, very important. If you say the right thing to the right person at the right time, you can make that connection, and it can open up opportunities that maybe you would have never had before. So I want you to think about these things, and that's when you're communicating your idea to other people. You're going to be communicating them in very different places and in very different settings. And you've got to have your wordings right when you're talking to these people. Even if it's on the supply side, let's say you're talking to potential suppliers for a component. Well, you want to have certain ways that you communicate with them. We do a whole class on this, on how to deal with potential vendors and potential suppliers, because that's very, very important. It's a very important part. Selling is a very important part, but there's a whole other side to this, and that's the procurement. That's finding the right components. That's finding the right suppliers, the right people that you're going to work with, and playing nice with them. And a big part of that is just communicating in the right way. So you have to be able to talk to the right people on the supply side. You have to learn their vernacular. Another area is, of course, obviously, on the selling side. You've got to have your pitch down right. You've got to have it honed, and you've got to have it honed in different ways. If you're just talking one-on-one to a potential customer, if you're talking to maybe a distributor, it depends, or maybe someone who might license the product from you. So there's a lot of different ways you present this, and so you have to have your timely words. You have to have your words right, and they have to be apt, so the words have to be right, and they have to be timely, so you know when to say it, when to time what you're saying. And and then another area that you have to have these things, you have to communicate well, is on the internal team side. Because you'll be surrounding yourself with people. They might be people in your business. They might be employees. They might end up being employees. They might be business partners. You have to have the apt answers and the timely word for them. So an apt and timely word takes preparation. And that's my next point, is you have to learn the language. Every industry, Every marketplace has its own lingo. I'll tell you a great example of this. In the little niche area of one of my businesses was called the Histopathology Laboratory, which is a mouthful, I know. But it was a little niche area of the medical lab, and they had lingo. You had to know the difference between a microtome and a cryostat. You had to understand what these things were, how they worked, when they had problems, what sectioning meant. You had to learn all these special words, this part of their unique language that they used. And your market, your industry, it's going to have a language. And how are you going to learn that? There's no English to market dictionary usually, except for maybe Google, and that's always a good place. But you have to get in it and get immersed in it, because if you listen to them and you listen to them telling these words and you learn the lingo and you listen to how they use it and and then you're also getting what's important to them, what's not important to them, and that's very important as well for you, very valuable for you. So it takes a total immersion in a marketplace to learn this stuff and to learn how to talk to people. Now, another thing is to find the words that are going to just light up your potential customers. This is very important. When you're talking, and this is how you find this out, is because you start talking to a lot of people, and then you just happen across a phrase or you happen across a word, and you see their face light up. You see their eyes light up, and they're like, "Wow, yeah, I'm really interested in that." Write that down. That's very important. That is valuable. It's finding gold on the street. When their eyes light up, write it down. That's valuable. And then work on honing these words. Honing them. Just file them down. Get them nice and sharpened so you know what's going to work and what's not going to work. When you hone these words and make them so they'll just work every time you use them. And the timing. Hone down, so every time you use it, you know it's going to hit its mark. Now, apt and timely words, and you probably guessed this already, take time and patience. So if you listen and talk to people enough, though, you'll get a feel for how they're going to react to things, what you're reacting to what you say, and not just what you say, but sometimes the way that you say it. So sometimes it comes all the way down to voice inflections. So but most importantly, the more you do it, the more you're familiar you're going to become with it. This just takes practice. This is that whole diligence part of getting up and doing what you're supposed to do and doing it time and time in and out. Whether you feel like it or not, you're still doing it, and before you know it, you've got amassed this skill set that you never had before. And that's what's really, truly valuable. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I am Don Skaggs. This is Empowered Inventing. Be sure and like and subscribe. Help us to build our tribe. Check us out on our websites, kyinventors.org and empoweredinventing.com. And I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, maybe one of our online classes, or on the next video.